Giving Tuesday community. I'm excited to be part of summer school this year. I'm Sarah Koch, Director of Social Innovation at the Case Foundation. And if you're not familiar with us, the mission statement of the Case Foundation is actually to invest in people and ideas that change the world, which can mean a lot of different things. But the exciting thing is that it does, for us, usually mean a lot of work around technology, a lot of work around community building, and a lot of lessons learned in terms of good and bad online campaigns. So I'm excited to be able to share a little bit of that with you today. And this also harkens a little bit back to my previous days when I helped nonprofits run online campaigns at causes.com. So I'm excited to talk about all the different ways that you can set up a campaign for success, that you can be measuring things, whether you end up being successful or not, to make sure that you're learning from your campaigns and making sure that whatever happens on Giving Tuesday, you have some great metrics at the end of it so you can be really benchmarking well what you're trying to do. So even if you've never done an online campaign before, there are lots of ways that you can learn about what type of benchmarks that you should be setting. The first thing to do is to talk to your peers in the space. Who are the nonprofits that you trust the most or that you really admire as they're getting started in online campaigns? Ask them what kind of metrics that they set for themselves. Did they have goals? And what did they actually achieve in their last campaign? That can help you to pick numbers that are based on, maybe not exactly what your community is going to react like, but an educated guess of what you think that you're going to get. And worst case, if you've never done an online campaign before and you don't know anyone who has or who's willing to talk to you about it, check out the online space and some of the resources and partners that Giving Tuesday has. Especially as we get closer to the date, people are going to be talking a lot about how they're measuring their campaigns, as well as the success or failures that they've had in the past. So you can read about campaigns that people have done in the first 2 years of Giving Tuesday, or other online campaigns, especially around giving days or other general campaigns that people have run, and use those public lessons as a way to set your benchmarks. And worst case scenario, if you don't have any numbers from campaigns you've run, you're not really finding a lot of comparative information online, pick numbers. Just look, try to guess, what do you think a good number would be? And even if you completely overshoot it or undershoot it, at least you're holding yourself to some kind of benchmark metrics that you're going to measure against. Simply picking a number really increases your chance of actually measuring against that number. So don't be afraid to just throw a dart at the wall and see how closely you get to it. So another question that you might be asking is, what in the world am I supposed to measure? And I've come up with a whole list. And so pardon me if I end up looking down at my note cards for part of this, because I don't want to forget any of the more than a dozen things that you could possibly be measuring during Giving Tuesday. Not all of these are going to apply to everybody, but I want to throw all of them out there so that there's no chance that you're going to say, well, I didn't know what to measure. There's so many things that you can measure that you can look at the entire list and then see what actually aligns with your goals, which will be the thing we talk about next. So here are just a few of the things that you can be measuring on Giving Tuesday. Assuming you're fundraising, here are a few things that you can do around donations. Obviously, there's the amount of money raised. That's a given. Make sure you know what that is, but I bet your accounting and fundraising people can tell you that one. Also look at the number of donors. That matters in terms of how many people that you're engaging. And even if you don't raise as much money as you wanted, if you're getting a lot of people who are donating with you, that means that one of your goals could be to get those same people to recruit at least one person each and you double your numbers, or to give just $5 more next time you're doing a fundraising campaign. And you can really grow a lot more than you expect. Getting more donors engaged will always be a great opportunity for you. You can also figure out the average dollars donated per donor, so you can really feel like, what's the sweet spot for your community? Do you have a lot of people who are coming in and giving you checks for $1,000, or are most of your people $25 donors? That'll help you to set benchmarks, as well as some better narratives around what type of things that people feel like they can identify with. If you have stories for most people who only give $25 around what their $25 can do, you can better relate with your donors and they can feel better connected to your organization. Another great thing to look at is how many of those donors are new donors. How many of them have never given to your organization before? Not that your old donors aren't valuable, they are some of your core supporters. But if they're able to bring in new people that you can cultivate and turn into long-term donors, that is a huge success. And then speaking of those long-term donors, is there anyone that's fundraising for you? How many people actually went out and recruited friends? This might be a trickier thing to measure if you're not using a system that directly has that tells you this many people fundraised, but you can also activate those fundraisers and say, hey, you are our top 10 supporters. We want to help you to do this. So you tell us, how many people did you get to donate? How much was that? How can we thank those people in particular? Because a lot of the metrics around actual people doing actual things means that there are a lot of actual thank yous that you can make at the end of the campaign as well. So then we get into some of the metrics that are not around donations, but are really valuable in terms of engagement and building upon the actions that people take on Giving Tuesday. So you can be tracking all of these things. The number of people that open or click on your email. You can also do a lot of tracking with social media. On Twitter, how many mentions, retweets, clicks, and new followers are you getting? On Facebook, how many likes, comments, shares, or new fans? Are you tracking your links? Bitly is a great place to create short links that you can go back and track at any point. So you can create links for your email in particular, so you know how many people are clicking on your email. You can also do it for all of the communications you're sending out via social media. Maybe you have a separate tracking link for your board members, so you know how many people they're driving to your campaign. And if you pick some fundraisers you want to particularly activate for the campaign, give them each tracking links. All you do is you just go to Bitly, you put in a link, it makes a new short link for you, and you can give that out to anybody that you want. While we're talking about these metrics, I'll go through who we use, at least here at the Case Foundation, to help us to track some of these things. Radian 6 is a great resource in terms of Twitter tracking. Not as good for Facebook, but the Facebook insights are very good to give you a sense of what your community is doing and how that's changing over time. You may also want to consider Google Analytics for finding out what's happening on your website. And we've recently started working with Clicky to measure more things about time on site and bounce rates, which has to do with how many people leave immediately after arriving at a site. So that has provided a ton of information for us to better understand who's using our website, what do they want to see, and what kind of content can we provide them to help educate them around the issues that we're working on. The other thing is to make sure that you're aligning your metrics with your long-term goals. Are you a primarily fundraising organization? Well, then you'll probably want to pay a lot of attention to your donors, your donor habits, as well as your fundraisers. Who's raising the most money? What can you do to better engage with them? And what are the most effective ways for people to get to your website or get to your donation site and donate? Were you having better clicks on Twitter than you were on your email list? Look at things like that, compare them, and really see which way people are being driven to your fundraising. If you're an advocacy organization, you might be thinking about how can we engage all of these people who have participated, who have donated, who have retweeted us, who have engaged with us at all on Giving Tuesday in other actions. Think in terms of the ladder of engagement and how you can get those people to engage with you in a higher level on your advocacy campaigns that you want to. And it might be that there's a couple steps. Somebody who just retweeted you on Giving Tuesday may not wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden sign a petition that you're trying to push forward, but they might then want to read an article that you wrote or watch a video and then engage with you a little bit more and then maybe donate $25 and then they're going to sign your petition. Think about those steps and have those actions planned out in advance for how you're going to continue to engage with your supporters. And finally, if you're an education nonprofit, there are so many different ways that you can engage with your supporters beyond just donations. Think about particularly your site metrics. What information is out there that you want them to learn? How are you making sure to measure that? Do you know how many video watches that you're getting? Can you break that down to say, this is how many happened right after our fundraising campaign, so we know what kind of effect fundraising has on our education? Think about what you want people to do ultimately. What is your biggest ask from your supporters? And how can you get them to go from one action to another in a way that you can really track and make sure that you know what the cause and effect is? And also make sure to think about the long tail of what you're trying to do. As I said, line up the metrics that are your key metrics for Giving Tuesday with your long-term goals. Make sure that you're thinking about what you want to do as an organization. And most importantly, thank everyone that participates. Thanking people is such a small thing, but it can go so far, especially as you're recruiting new donors, new supporters, new promoters, new fundraisers. Make sure that they know how much that you appreciate them. As much as you can make that personal, do it. In those instances that you don't know who people are, send out something on social media or just mention something in your next email alert, just saying, we would really like to thank everybody who participated on Giving Tuesday. Make sure to thank them so that they know you noticed, that they participated, and that they want to support your organization. And then, as I said earlier, also make sure that you have those next steps ready to go. If you're prepared before Giving Tuesday to say, as soon as everyone donates, we're going to ask them 3 weeks later to also get involved and watch this video, then you're not scrambling after the fact and saying, oh, we had 500 people come and donate. We don't know what to do with them now. Those are the types of things that you can think about now in August and September, and you can have all ready to go so that they're not adding any additional stress onto your holiday campaign. This will make sure that you are ready to go on Giving Tuesday, that you're focused in on what your metrics are, you figured out what those are for your organization, or taken a best guess, and you know exactly how you're going to track them. These are some of the keys to success that we've learned at the Case Foundation through our big campaigns or our small campaigns, and we hope that you can have some success on your Giving Tuesday campaign as well.